welcome back. It is the Summer Game Fest, not really Summer Game Fest, Day Zero. What? I have no idea what this really is because some of it's being marketed as a Summer Game Fest event.
I just call it Key 3.
Yeah, because Jeff Keighley is calling this part of the Summer Games Fest, even though it hasn't kicked off yet, and Sony isn't. But yes, that's right. This is our coverage of, I guess, not even Day Zero, but not also early days, pre-Day Zero. This is the Sony E3 non-E3 showcase. And of course, as you heard, we have Ken with us to discuss because we had been briefly back and forth chatting about what we were hoping to see and hear, and I think we saw some of it. As a quick summary of what's been going on in the last week or so, we had the Japanese indie thing that I talked about, their indie showcase. There's some decent stuff there. In between then and now, the only real game announcements that are worth talking about, if you're a collector, would be Evercade, as it showcased a new handheld device to replace the previous Evercade, because that didn't work with those arcade games they had been putting out on the home console version. I think it had something to do with like not enough RAM. So they have that coming out. They showed that they got a license for some more games. Cool if that's your thing. I think it's a neat thing, but it's not my. I mean, I can build my own emulation.
Oh, machine. and also today BioWare announced what the new Dragon Age name is. Dragon Age 4's name is,
well,
which means absolutely nothing. Basically, this was an announcement saying we are not going to be at Summer Game Fest. Stop asking.
Well, not to mention, it was like, was it Dreadwolf? The title they're calling it now. Well, that's the title they gave it 4 years ago. I mean, that was the working title.
That's the working title.
So,
another game where the working title just becomes the title.
I mean, it could be worse. Could have been like Dragon Age: The Money Pit, because I don't think a single game has ever cost a studio as much as this game has without it being canceled.
I mean, to be fair, they said fuck it to Frostbite.
Yeah, they had to scrap their own in-house engine because, like, when not even Unreal, like the earlier engines they had used with Dragon Age, I think they used the Aurora engine. I think the final game to use it, like I think was Sith Lords used it, and then, but that was, I guess, licensed out. I think Dragon Age Origins was the last game to use the engine that they built, and then they switched. It was either that or Dragon Age 2. No, it was Dragon Age 2 used their engine, 2. And that was, they were going to try to adapt that into like a better engine after, and then they were told no,
use Frostbite.
It used Frostbite too?
Dragon Age Inquisition used Frostbite.
That's the one that gave them all the trouble, right?
Yeah, they had to basically build brand new tools because it's not an engine built for a fucking RPG. Well,
very specifically, it's not an engine built for third-person narrative-driven RPG. You could probably have done a Borderlands type thing with it.
Maybe, but
I mean, the shooting. But I mean, yeah, it's built for hyper-realistic scenery that's destructible, not environments of like RPG lands.
Yeah.
And I remember I loved it. Like, I actually went back the last 3 or 4 days and played Dragon Age Origins because I didn't realize, I guess I just didn't think about it, that it's part of the EA, was it EA Plus or whatever it's called? It's with the Game Pass. EA Play. So I installed it because it's one of the few games that's a 360 title that has auto HDR and FPS boost enabled on Series S and Series X. So I installed it, and I was like, well, maybe I could just play it on my PC. I've got a powerful enough PC. No problem to play that kind of game. And then it turns out Dragon Age Origins doesn't work on Windows 11 or on most systems with Windows 10. It just driver issues because it's just too old from 2008, right? It hasn't really been updated. And the servers don't work. So I was like, oh, so I guess I got to play it on console. And, you know, I had it back in the day on disc for PS3. And I didn't realize that the game, I guess because my mindset at the time, that it was an unlocked frame rate targeting 30 FPS. and it would drop in frame rates when lots of shit was happening on screen, because that was pretty intense with the amount of enemies that could pop up for the time. And installing it on my Series S, I realized that it's getting a locked 60 with that FPS boost. FPS boost. It's not really FPS boost. It was just unlocked frame rate, and it just powers through it. So it's really the only way, like without having to downgrade your computer and use older hardware, to play the game at 60 FPS. I believe because I'm playing it on the One S, it, even though it probably only does 1080p. It won't scale it to 4K, even if that was a feature that they did for like One X or Series X, because they use different code bases. But regardless, it's not going to look that much better from the age. But the auto HDR looked fine. The FPS was amazing. What was the best thing was load times. For like usually old titles, they have things
that can
baked
be said
in.
about literally everything.
Well, I've played some 360 games, and they'll have like a baked in load screen that forces it to take 20 or 30 seconds, even if it's already done loading, because it plays like an animation.
Yeah, that basically is. At least there are games where recently, especially with the Evil Dead game, like I'm like, there are so many goddamn load screens built into this game that if you didn't have it on an SSD or any, this would be annoying as piss.
Oh god,
because
and this was one of those games that back in the day, you would take a minute to load sometimes between environments.
Yeah,
but like I'm clicking like next environment 2 seconds, and it's like loading the graphics before it's ready, so you're like seeing them stream in. I'm like, oh shit, they was not expecting to go this fast, like, because it was used to loading. I think that game loaded from the Blu-ray, like it installed some key data, but back in the day it would load from your DVDs, so you were limited to like 20 megabytes per second read on a Xbox, and then maybe 30-ish on a Blu-ray player for the PS3. But now it's loading at like 3,000. So I was like, boom, done. So I went through that, died a bunch of times, pissed me off when I died, so I deleted the game. And then the next day I was like, I won't play it again. So I had to wait like 20 minutes for it to download. Played it, beat it, and I was like, man, this was good. But again, servers are dead. And when I say dead, I mean it tries to contact the EA servers. And EA servers are up on some 360 games. They have shut them down completely for this, because the 360 can still access the internet. Like if you have a 360, you can still play online. Yeah, they've shut them down. So my question to EA is, why do you have a game available that requires online for certain things on your Game Pass, but then you can't access it because the servers are dead? So you can't access. You can access like DLC stuff, but it gives you the option for certain games to download like multiplayer stuff, and doesn't work. So why have them even available? They've actually cordoned off some DLC that you can't use. But regardless, I'm not going to do any of the extra deals, like the extra expansions, because I did that on the PS3. But I wanted to have a single playthrough in what would be considered the best quality I can on a console I haven't done it, just like I did with Mass Effect. So I have save files for Mass Effect on the PS4/5 and the Xbox Series X, so that whenever a new game comes out, I can pick whatever if they're going to import the data, and if not, I got my trophies and everything. I might not do 2. Actually, I might do 2, but and then Inquisition was my favorite one of the bunch. I'll see how that holds up, maybe, but I'm excited for this. I know it's sort of a roundabout way. We haven't gone to the actual discussion on the PlayStation stuff, but it's interesting to me, like you said, that they just dropped the title here, and because they said there was no EA Play this year. But wouldn't this have been something that maybe you'd want to have part of, the Game Fest kickoff?
I think specifically they made the announcement of the title because because
they know people would get pissed if they didn't have something, or if they would be probably more pissed if you just showed a title at the Game Fest thing than just doing it now. What that means is, like, we're not getting this till late next year, if that. I think it's probably going to be. They're hoping probably for this to be a holiday title for them next year. And if
that's probably EA's game,
and if not, like, I don't know, but at the same time, Mass Effect, I know they're working on it pretty darn hard. It's entirely possible that those come out within 6 months of each other, depending on how many people. There's talk of them hiring extra teams to work on Mass Effect, but I feel like they should just be all hands on deck getting this game done. But it's EA gonna EA. It's not up to BioWare.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. Oh, and then there was the announcement of the Star Wars game from them as well, right?
Yeah, that was Jedi Survivor.
And that had basically just a story trailer, and that's it. I purposely didn't watch because I haven't played the first game yet.
Dude, just play it. Like,
yeah,
I mean, they have the series
downloaded.
Patch. They have the series patch out.
Yeah, so. And I saw that it's part of the service as well, so I downloaded it because I just didn't own a copy. So, I mean, that's the only other news that's happened so far. That, and wasn't there a trailer drop for Pokemon?
Yep, there was a trailer drop for Pokemon, November 18th. Like, that was kind of obvious.
Yeah, they always do the holiday release for that.
I'm happy with how it looks. It looks a lot better than Sword and Shield did when they first showed it off.
That frame rate still looks bad.
The frame rate looks better than it was.
The frame rate looks better, but at the sacrifice of, let's have all the Jaggy lines from 20 years ago. Let's have no anti-aliasing at all.
That's I have given up on letting Game Freak actually putting something pretty. Like,
well, they never were. They were never pretty, but how
they're
about
never going to be able to.
They're the hey, let's put out something presentable.
Yes.
It's good enough for the people to give us billions. That's all they care about. I mean,
also, as everyone has pointed out, yes, one of the legendary Pokemon looks like a dick.
Of course. Now, to me, I saw that trailer. What region are they in? To me, it looked like it could have been America because of the wide variety of landscapes.
Greek. I believe it's like Greek. The inspiration.
See, my first thought was that, and then I went, okay. Then I saw the flowers and stuff, and I was like, oh, is this going to be like Sweden or Norway? But I'm like, I don't see too much snow. And then I was like, you're right. I was like, Mediterranean maybe. So I guess Greek. They're working their way through Europe, and then I guess they'll eventually do America.
They've basically confirmed the theming of the two games. You have Scarlet, which will be about past, and Violet, which will be about future.
Is that why there's two professors?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, what are the rivals are now professors?
You have Unga Bunga Woman or Giga Chad.
Ugh. Oh boy. Okay.
Those are the professors. You have Unga Bunga Woman or Giga Chad. That's essentially what the professors are.
Well, okay, sure. And that's basically all the news outside of the PlayStation thing that happened today, right? So yeah, PlayStation came with an announcement. Weird timing though, 6 p.m. Eastern.
I mean, they've been doing later in the day events. They've always done later in the day events, especially with E3 time. They always do like a 9 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah, but like 3 p.m. West Coast seems like an odd. I guess it's enough time for them to get their press emails out to people, but not enough time for them to get questions in. What? But yeah, it just felt like an odd time. Like, you figure this would have been something they would have done on Friday. I'm wondering why they did it on a Thursday. But regardless, they said it was going to be 30, and they packed a fair amount in for 30 minutes. I wasn't sure that they were going to be able to do that. I was figuring a couple little trailers and then a couple extended ones, but no, it was pretty jam-packed. And this was supposed to be, it pretty much was what they said. I don't think we saw really any first-party titles except for the announcement of Spider-Man going to the PC, which we'll get that out of the way. Spider-Man's going to PC, and people are going to go crazy trying to max out their settings on their 3090s with it and see what they can do. It already, from the trailer, looked like you're watching a movie until you saw human faces. Like when it's just Spider-Man flying around and the city, it looks like a movie.
That game is gonna look fucking fantastic.
It's gonna melt people's
Like,
computers though.
oh yeah, no, this is. I mean, like, I will be happy if I could get, like, if I were to run this. Also, I don't know if it showed it in the trailer, but I would not be surprised if Sony again partners with Epic to make it exclusive for 6 months or something.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
didn't say where it was gonna be. They just said
They
PC.
didn't
I
say
think,
where
right?
it was going to be, but it was coming to PC. I would not be surprised if Sony again partners with Epic.
They may be working with them on a long term deal,
Yeah,
like for all their games, right? So, but it also is going to depend because you got PlayStation Plus and the different tiers. They might want to do their own sort of Game Pass type thing on PC once they get enough of these out. So it would,
I mean,
that would be something
what
that
they're
maybe only Epic would offer them. I don't think Steam would offer something like that.
Steam has been very open to letting Game Pass in.
Okay, so we'll see what happens there because it would be interesting if that.
It's just a matter of like, I don't know whether because the way Microsoft runs Game Pass on PC, it's all done through the Windows Store versions.
Yeah, whereas
So
PlayStation would have to work out something like they're not going to do it through their PS Now
Their
old
own
streaming
servers.
app, right? Yeah, so it would be whomever
But also,
gives them the
also
interface.
to be fair, the PC version of PS Now that will be merged within Plus, you have to have the highest tier in order to do it on PC.
Yeah, okay, so we'll see. There's probably some platform stuff changing along the way. Like
Yeah.
that looks fantastic.
Again, we'll see in a week when that happens.
Exactly.
What's going to happen with everything.
Exactly. And they said like this was going to be PSVR 2 stuff, and the fact that this was just a state of play, I know some people were getting overhyped, being like, "Oh, they're going to show off the hardware working." Like, no, because
No, they'll save that for.
They'll
like,
do that what they call the future of gaming showcase that they did.
Yeah.
They called. They had. Well, no wait. Even the second state of play for the PS5 wasn't the future gaming. They called it something else. It was I think the PlayStation Showcase.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but
like
I think that'll be the end of the summer.
Because they always do one in September or August.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they might even reveal the hardware, like the whole package and everything at Gamescom. Because that finishes off the summer. Like they'll reveal it, they could reveal it and say more to come in a PlayStation showcase in a month or a few weeks. They've done that sort of thing before as well, so I could see them doing that in the near future. As far as what was shown, it was pretty rapid fire. They started out with Resident Evil 4, the announcement. That's
the obvious thing that everyone knew was happening. But
yeah,
we got official confirmation now. Yes,
I had heard
remaking Resi 4,
and I had heard some people say that they were thinking that the Resident Evil 4 announcement was going to be for the a port of the one that they made for the Oculus, of the original version of 4. That it's done quite well, but I was like, nah, they're not going to use like that game was made to show that holy crap, look what the Oculus Quest 2 can do. But on its own without any additional hardware, that's pretty impressive for what it is. I was like, there's no way that that's going to be a PSVR 2 title that they're going to want to show as one of the first games coming out for it.
And I'm sure, like, not only is the Resi 4 remake going to have some VR2 support in some fashion or another, they actually called the release date for it as well. That's the end of March of next year.
Yeah, they said that they're developing probably a mode for it that does it, right? Which is cool, but like no, it's not going to be the VR 2 one. They're going to do that with this. This is the full remake, and it looks like they made a claim, and we'll see if it turns out to be true. At the beginning, when it has like little captions captured on whatever, it says it was captured completely in engine on the PS5, and
that doesn't surprise me because RE Engine just like
it was crap when they launched it though. When they launched Resident Evil Village, the frame rate was terrible, but this is not a multi-gen release. This is targeting only the PS5,
that
and we don't even know if it's coming to Xbox. They didn't say it was exclusive, but there was no mention. I haven't heard any
I
other rumors.
would they might put out a press release either
We
currently or
because we know the
at some
VR
point.
version is going to be the VR content is going to be exclusive to them.
Oh, of course.
Obviously.
Because Sony paid for Sony literally. I guarantee you, because because they also announced Village is getting VR support.
Yeah. So they're paying for this.
Yeah, Sony's paying for this. Capcom would not do this if Sony wasn't paying for it.
But yeah, the frame rate looks smooth, like really good, and the fidelity is way up there. It looked like they took all the little lessons that they had to learn from the mediocre launch, the first month or two of Village, and they applied it here. And it has the added benefit of not having to target 7-year-old hardware too.
Yeah.
So I imagine load times are going to be phenomenal on both whatever platforms it comes out on. Now it's not for me, but I would love to see people play it. This is the kind of game. Same with when they showed the Village one, with saying that we had and showing the VR mode for that. That's the kind of thing I would watch on Twitch. I would watch people that aren't used to playing this kind of game play it, because I'd get a kick out of just seeing them totally freak out.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's pretty good.
I thought there was another Resident Evil, but like a cell shaded one, like some sort of side story, and then it turned out that it was the VR version of Walking Dead. Was it Saints and Sinners? Which is
Saints and Sinners, the second game, chapter 2.
Which the first one and I think the second one were some of the big heavy hitters on the Oculus. So it getting a more high res version working here, it looked pretty good. I mean, the graphics look like something it can handle quite well without at a high frame rate. So I mean, cool. To me, I think personally, the Walking Dead series is dead. Like, I don't see the appeal of it at this point, but that could freshen things up at least for a little while. Trying to think, was there any other VR title they showed at the beginning in that first little package?
Nothing VR that I remember.
Yeah, no, I think that was it for that little. Oh yeah, they showed the Horizon game.
Oh yeah, the Horizon that we already knew was coming.
It Call the Mountain or something?
Call the Mountain, yeah. They already
and they showed off the gameplay. So it has the hands, like the floaty hands that you see in a lot of these games. It looked pretty smooth. The graphics were good. They're not.
I mean, like
they're not Half-Life Alyx level of graphics that people said that they were thinking they were hoping they were going to get. But
I mean, the big thing when it came to the PSVR 2, what they're showcasing, I was like, show me actual games, please.
Yeah,
and
they showed
what they're doing is showing actual games, and this looks like an actual game. Okay,
it looks like it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then let me see what else we got. We're not going in a straight order of everything, but just going in the order of things I remembered. There was that game that I thought was a Turbo Kid tie-in, but it's just Roller Dome, the cell shaded roller derby with guns game.
Yep. Another VR thing. No Man's Sky is getting PSVR 2.
Oh, that's right, PSVR 2, and it looked pretty decent.
I mean, we knew that they were already working on a VR version of No Man's Sky. I believe that they had announced that to come to like PC and stuff like that. So it's no surprise that PSVR 2. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Then Tunic is getting a PlayStation release. That was fun. That was frustrating. I did have to look up. I'm not going to spoil the story or anything because there's not a ton, but still, the Golden Path, you need a guide. Like it's so mind-bendingly obtuse that it could take you a week.
As I said, it's a Souls game.
It's a Souls game but to a point where I have a hard time understanding how they're kind of expecting you to find that good path, the Golden Path. It's almost like they expect you to collaborate with friends and stuff on Discord to figure it out.
I mean, that's what a Souls game is. I'm not kidding, actually. That's what happens with brand new Souls games when they come out. Like the
Yeah, like
internet will
like
figure
this
shit
felt
out.
like it was baked in that it was baked in that you'd have to collaborate to solve the puzzle, because
Right.
it's almost like you don't different people are going to have different paths to finding pieces of the solution, right? And it feels like you kind of have to, which is fun. It'll do great on there, but people are going to pay for it because it's considering it's part of Game Pass and it's been on Game Pass for like a year by the time this comes out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, I mean, if they add something to it, great. Maybe not, but still. Then what else? There was that trailer for Season, A Letter to the Future. That was the game that we saw at the original. It was either the first PS5 showcase. Was it one of the ones that they showed in the teasing there, like 2 years ago? That's the one where you're riding around on your bicycle and then like listening to people, hearing their stories, and like solving puzzles for them or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool music, cool idea. I'm getting a weird feeling about it that like you're in a world that's going to be destroyed or something, or that doesn't exist. Like I'm almost feeling like you're this person on a bicycle, right? I get the feeling that the person's like in a coma, and like they're going to work their way through.
I mean,
issues.
That's the kind of artsy fartsy kind of indie game that I expect from something like this.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks interesting. Well, I'll probably check it out. Eternites. Oh, that was the one that I thought looked like it was something from SMT at first.
I mean, it's like a character action / dating sim, I guess.
Yeah, but with the music that was distinctly like SMT in style.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely.
if you closed your eyes and didn't read anything, you'd think it was another SMT game or like
I thought it was something Atlas was putting out.
Yeah,
like legitimately.
When I know that I haven't played it, so I didn't recognize, but I thought just the profiles on it, I was like, are we getting like a Persona 3 remake? But again, I haven't played that one. Or then I thought, oh, maybe are they remaking Persona 1? Like the original like Revelations Persona in a modern style, just not using like super high-end graphics, because all the little cutscenes were very stylistically like Persona 4 and 5.
Right.
So I was like, nah. Well, and that's one to keep an eye on.
It looks interesting.
The action looks fun.
I would not be surprised if that's not technically PlayStation exclusive, and that'll come to multiple consoles and stuff.
Yeah, it's possible. It didn't say that it was exclusive, so
yeah.
But it was announced there for the first time. That was definitely not at the Japanese Indie Showcase, which is weird because was it Kodansha Games or somebody was behind this? I think I saw their logo, and they were like a sponsor of that indie game showcase. So Sony got this for whatever reason. The Callisto Protocol. That's the one that is that not from the same team that made the original Dead Space before they left EA?
Yeah. This is the old. These are the original Dead Space guys
from Dead Space 1 and 2.
Yeah, Dead Space 1 and 2, and this is also the game that for some weird friggin' reason is in the PUBG universe.
Because it's the same studio or same owner. Like
it's the same people backing them.
Yeah, so like this is in like the future of the PUBG universe on a planet somewhere, but there is supposedly a direct connection. Yeah. I think it's like, isn't it the company that owns this mining like this that owns this penal colony is the same company that provides the weapons in PUBG or something?
Yeah, something like that.
But they showed off more, like obviously not gameplay, but this has Birdman written all over it when it comes to the the horror.
This is my jam too.
I will not play this, but I will be at a friend's house and watch them play and chat. And I'd have to take like heart medication. because
I mean, this is what made the original Dead Space so amazing.
Well, just the part where like they showed the guy walking. I know it's CG, but he's walking through like all the hung up dead bodies, and one of them, the eyes just open.
One of them moves.
The eyes open. It doesn't make like the like scary music like
no, it's
jump
just
scare. Its eyes open and turns its eyes and like opens its mouth, and it's like, oh no. And I'm thinking, if this is coming out, and if this turns out to be good, and then we've got an actual Dead Space coming out, and they said that they've gone back to the drawing board with that one to try to make it like the first two before they ejected the old team.
Yeah,
There's
I
potentially
mean,
two really good space horrors.
and I believe EA announced when the Dead Space remake comes out.
Isn't that next
Early
summer?
next year.
Or yeah, or
Early
is it?
next year.
Yeah,
Let me just check.
I'll tell you, they won't want to go up against Resident Evil 4 though,
Current.
because that would be Dead Space 4, is it? Or just a remake of the original or something?
It is a remake. It is a remake from the ground up of the original. Yeah, it's a January of like January next year.
So basically, if they don't hit their target there, they're going to have to move it till May because they don't want to go up against.
It's the end of January.
They don't want to go up against Resident Evil in March, 2 horror games.
Yeah.
So there's those. Then Spider-Man we talked about.
Horizon Forbidden West got a New Game Plus update
with a hard mode or ultra hard mode, New Game Plus, where you can keep your end game gear. And if you keep your end game gear for the New Game Plus and for the ultra hard mode, there's new trophies. Actually, no.
And then
I should correct myself. They didn't say that there's new trophies for the ultra hard mode, but I would assume so. They said specifically for New Game Plus there is.
Yeah, and then they added transmog and a performance mode.
Yep, which is cool.
And also a respec.
Yeah, respecking, which I always found funny that was something they had to add, but the game was rushed to get out. They rushed as much as they could without doing too much crunch. So this is the stuff that would have been there if they were forced to crunch, and it's like, good, they waited, no big deal. Street Fighter 6 show. We thought Street Fighter 6, Mike and I were chatting back and forth, we're like, is this like, I was like, open world streets, like Final Fight? And then we're like, no, it looks like open world Street Fighter. It looks like there's parts of the world hub that you can climb and move around. Like, it's like you're going to go to different streets to do your street fighting.
I feel like that's going to be what the story mode is.
Yeah, like it looks like you're climbing buildings to fight on rooftops, and it looked like a little bit of Final Fight where you're beating up people randomly.
It actually looked like you're playing legit Street Fighter in name.
Yeah, like it was like they mixed that, and like the traversal between your major fights, you fight people like you would in a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and then you get to where you're going to go, and then you have your fight. I was like, that looks cool. I think the character models look like ass, but that's because I don't like the character models where their fists are the size of tree trunks for no reason. But it did look really smooth.
I mean, this is being built off the RE engine.
Is this the first time they've done that?
Yes, the RE and I feel like Capcom has basically said, yeah, the RE engine is versatile enough that we can use it with everything we do.
I want them to make a new Breath of Fire game.
Oh my god, Breath of Fire and RE engine, that would be interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like Breath of Fire and RE engine, or like even if they don't want to do that, like whatever engine they're using for was it Monster Hunter Stories?
Monster Hunter Stories, I believe, is done off Unreal.
Okay, maybe not that, but I would love because is RE engine doing the Monster Hunter games? I think that's a different engine, isn't it?
No, RE
with World they switched over to it,
right? No, yeah, World was running off of RE engine, and also Rise is run off.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, give us a Breath of Fire, give us some legacy titles. I mean, hell, give us a Mega Man. Maybe not Mega Man.
Inafune has basically soiled that franchise.
Well, what this shows us is they could give us a new 3D world Final Fight game. We saw what the Streets of Rage game looked like with the new engine.
I mean, they've basically, with what they did with 5, they basically brought most of the Final Fight characters into Street Fighter 5.
So
like the ones that everyone liked.
we've yet to see. They haven't announced this, but like it's just the footage looked like you were traversing the world, and they showed that
Yeah.
there was a central hub you would walk to, where you could
And
select your
again,
game modes.
and again, I'm knowing Capcom, they're probably aiming for first quarter 2023,
Yeah,
which is usually ideal fighting game release time. So
and that gets people prepped for the summer when they do the tournaments.
exactly.
So I mean, cool. I'm very interested, at least in seeing that. Then the last two things here, we have Stray. This is something that I had been waiting for a while, and it's looking cuter and cuter. They actually, you can see they updated the graphics. It seems to be running at a smoother frame rate because
Right.
everything was done in game. And the announcement there, the big one, coming July 19th, and it's going to be a free game if you have the upper two tiers of PS Plus. So this is one of the games there. This looks like the first game they're banking on you of a new game that's an exclusive. Now it's
That's a exclusive in
a
quotes.
console exclusive. Yes, that is a console exclusive that's going to launch on the service. Because they said they weren't necessarily going to do that with their AAA titles, but nothing says they're not going to do that with their second party licensed titles that they're getting from like Annapurna like this. And
Yeah.
I mean, I might, if I'm still want to get a review code early if I can, because I want to play this thing. But if not, this is going to be something that I think for people that think like we do will drive people to at least subscribe for a month.
Yep.
Because this is a game that's going to be 50. Let me think. US probably. I don't think it's going to be like a full $60 game.
I think
like
they're aiming
for
Let
50.
me just check.
I think like in Canada, our games are now $79. I think this is aiming to be a $59 or a $64 game, similar to what like Concrete Genie and some other titles like that have been. But regardless, even if it's like 40 American, 50 Canadian for this game,
I'm thinking it's probably aiming for a 30-40.
Like 49.99 maybe American, like $10 cheaper, or $39.99.
Hold up.
But regardless, even if it's at those prices,
no, it's $30 US.
$30. Okay, so basically, if you just wanted to pay for 1 month of the service, it's half the price of the game.
Yep.
So even if you just want to try it for 1 month, you could do that and get the free game. They're going to use this to pull people in to subscribe.
Oh, 100%. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. So I don't mind that we had to wait longer because it looks like they've done a bunch of little visual improvements. The cat friggin' purrs, and I was reading when it purrs, if you have a PS5, you'll feel it in the HD rumble.
Yeah, of course you're gonna have haptic feedback on that.
Haptic feedback. So when the harder you purr, the more your controller shakes.
Yeah,
that's yeah. So there's my summer game that'll be my game until I guess the RPG Armageddon happens at the end of the summer. But yeah, that was nice getting a date. Nice getting that it's shown off as being the first bigger new release to come to the service. And then we finished off with Final Fantasy 16, which unfortunately,
no one.
Yeah, surprising no one. Well, the question was going to be one of three things. We pretty much knew it was going to be here at this point. It was going to be surprising if it wasn't, because we already knew it was pretty much done. Now
it's in the polished stages.
Yeah,
sure.
We were either going to get this trailer, we were either going to get this, or we were going to get a Final Fantasy title reveal for 7 Remake Part 2, which they probably wouldn't have done that before this. Or the thing people thought maybe was going to happen was trailer for this, teaser title reveal for 7 Remake 2, which they could do if they're desperate, but they want to spread these big mainline titles out a bit. So
yeah,
they showcase.
Square's pretty good at keeping the Final Fantasy brand singularly focused.
Yeah. The only question as to why people thought maybe it would happen is because of how volatile their market's been with their stocks and everything because of the sale of the studios. Are they desperate enough to show off their entire catalog right now to drum up support? And this game is strong enough that they don't need to do that. They showed off gameplay and it looked buttery smooth. Dare I say, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced that on the PS5, because it's exclusive. This game might support 120 frames per second. Like it,
Knowing Yoshi P, he's probably doing that.
because, well, and also the dude that programmed the action gameplay for Devil May Cry 5
it is
Special is doing it.
fighting the gameplay designer for Devil May Cry 5 is
The battle system person here.
Battle system person on this. And
which
the battle system
and it works
freaking awesome.
It looks like Devil May Cry 5, which I'm not a huge but this looks like Devil May Cry 5 mixed with, actually no, it just looks like Devil May Cry 5 mixed with Final Fantasy overlays.
Yeah, and I like the HUD system for the fights.
Well, having your character's stats at the very top, they've not really done that before, and it gives it a different feel.
It feels like a kind of a fighting game in a way.
Well, and
they
showed you controlling one character, but they showed at one point other people on the screen as well.
I mean, they also the big thing story wise is our main hero, he is the human form of Ifrit.
Yeah, which we thought was like the little boy in the original trailer, but it's you.
Yeah, the little boy is the incarnation of Phoenix.
Yeah, so we'll have to look into this because again, I don't know this lore and story of FF11 and 14, but that apparently people turning into people being the embodiment of summons is something that's in that world. At first I thought it was Ivalice, but then that's the tactics world, and that's not a thing there. But this is something that's in this. So obviously it's in the same world. This will be the introduction. People are like, oh, 14 is so popular. Yeah. This will be the introduction of that world to 95% of the Final Fantasy fans that don't play the MMO.
Yeah. And I mean, and given the fact it is Yoshi P, I have absolute faith that he's going to put out a good product. Like, when they announced that Yoshi P was going to be working on this, I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to be that worried about this development. It'll be out when it's out, and when it's out, it's going to be friggin' fantastic.
And
it looks great. I'm
and
excited.
I did like that they opened it up with him sitting there basically talking, skirting around it, saying, we know that the world's at war, it's on fire right now in Europe, and then the pandemic's still raging in certain countries, and even on the homestead here to a certain extent. And he's just like, he wanted to justify saying, hey, we're showing this off because we know that our games can give people a bit of the release that's needed, as well as like you need to have happy moments even when there's bad shit going on, like because you could see that he feels perhaps a little guilty that it's like, look at our game when there's a lot of crap going on. He's like justifying it. And he didn't have to do that, but it's a nice little touch.
Yoshi P has always been very cognizant of just people in general. I mean, the man is a gamer at heart anyway. Like, he plays 14. Like, he knows what people, when it comes to what the people who play 14 want, he knows because he plays the actual game.
What did you see? Did you see that Sakaguchi's now playing Final Fantasy 14?
Yeah.
And didn't he? There's something about how he named his character like Saka and Gucci, like for first and last name.
Yeah.
And he's becoming super rich within the world marketplace because he's selling things sold by him. So he's like breaking the economy of 14 by being
to be fair, the economy of 14 is already fucked up.
Well, and I mean, like, basically he's trolling his old company by doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, which is fun. So like some of these guys, like Yoshi P is the only guy in charge that was at the company
who is he's also a board member, to be fair.
Yeah, because like the other Final Fantasy team members and heads like Katase and what's his name? Oh, why am I drawing a blank
Um,
on the dude that's in charge of remake and Kingdom Hearts?
I brain fart as well.
Brain fart likes the stupid stories that make no sense. But yeah, like those guys, they were there back in the 90s and that too, but they were pretty low level people or just game directors. And Yoshi P came in. He's the last one that came in right around the time that Sakaguchi left the company. So like
Yep.
there's only a few of these people left that are still directing games. And the difference between Yoshi P and the others is Yoshi P is very hands-on, more so than
Yeah.
just on like the other guys are. They have their story ideas, they have their input, they'll do the directing part like a director, but Yoshi P is so hands-on. It's like the old ways they used to do things where the game director directed every single aspect of the games. So I fully expect it to be done. There's a couple lip sync issues because they have the dub is done, but it looks like what they're still doing is putting in the code to sync up the lips, because they did that with 15. They got an award for that at some game conference or game programmers thing where they developed the scripting engine that allowed, because they on their Luminous engine they use
Yeah.
to have it so that the mouth will sync, not like you don't have to like manually sync all the cutscenes. So even when they're not in cutscenes, like when you're walking in 15 and like they're just randomly jibber jabbering to each other,
Yeah.
the mouths move properly.
Mouse
It
sync.
syncs to the mouth sounds, not manually to whatever you say. So
Yeah.
it's not even like the computer goes, oh, they're speaking English, run the English mouth routine. It literally just goes, there's voices coming, it analyzes the audio and makes the mouth move itself. That was something crazy tech they did, which I think they ended up licensing it out to studios and other things to do too. So it's there, but it looks like they're still polishing it. So the movement to next summer is fine. I'm like, oh, sad Alex, but there's still a lot of really good games coming out. It also just means that this game is going to be ready. Like, do not expect this game to crash. Do not expect this game to have weird pop-ins. Don't expect the low-res door on Final Fantasy VII Remake, where they basically had to wait a full year till the PS5 version came out to fix it. Like, this is going to just work because it's targeting two platforms, PS5 and PC, and the PC version.
They haven't officially said PC.
They did when the game was announced.
Then they retracted that.
Oh, so they retracted okay. So PS5.
So we don't know if it's coming to PC. It might be coming to PC. It coming to PC.
It might be a year exclusivity window again. So regardless, it's targeting one singular platform. So this will be, and for people that don't even really play Final Fantasy, a lot of them that even just were tangentially interested or got super interested because of how involving the Final Fantasy VII Remake was and how that captured all of Twitch for like a month and a half, something that they didn't think was going to happen. Like the general populace heard about it. This is the game that's going to, at that point when systems are more available, this will move systems. And move systems in a big way. People are going to go. By then, they're going to be like, okay, so we've got.
By then, the chip shortage will be alleviated enough where there will be systems available.
Well, and by then they'll already have 25 million consoles sold or more.
Yeah.
So even if they get an attach rate of like even 25% or even 50% of that, like if it's going to sell, my guess, it might sell more than Final Fantasy VII Remake did because of the action.
I will not be surprised.
This is going to be a minimum 10 million seller. It'll be one of maybe two or three. It'll be one of top 3 Final Fantasy sellers ever.
Yeah, I think this is going to.
It might beat 7. It might actually beat 7 in sales because of the action style of it. It's gone back to the fantasy look. There's not a ton of this, plus the Elden Ring effect.
Yeah.
Of the fantasy, people craving more fantasy, more dark fantasy.
Yep.
Only this time with more story, like more overt story.
I mean, it. Like I am. When it comes to the Final Fantasy franchise, like I am I am hotly anticipating 16 simply because it's much more fantasy and a lot less modern. Um,
Yeah, like
I,
it's
as much as I love 7, like seven's not my favorite Final Fantasy game.
no, most people's 9 when they, if they're a fantasy fan.
Uh,
Um,
I'm actually a big fan of 6.
okay, so yeah, and to an extent, seven's a little bit like that, but it would be nice if we could have, that full fantasy, but also like steampunk Magitech stuff come back. I would. It would be interesting to me now to do like a Final Fantasy 8. Like I could see, like I would like an 8 remake, not this huge epic scale where we have to have multiple games to tell the story, but I wouldn't mind seeing what if not that story of 8, seeing the graphical style of 8 done like the modern day, like something that's supposed to be taking place, like it was like almost like it was taking place in the 1980s or 90s, but then also had these weird fantastical magical elements like
Mm.
the urban fantasy. They don't really do that. They always seem to, with Final Fantasies, do like steampunk or atomic punk and all. It would be neat to see them tackle like a Persona type game where it's taking place in like right now in modern. But we'll see. Like I'm looking just briefly at anything else that was shown, and I think that's pretty much it. There was the roller skating game, and
We got,
there that was a fair bit that they had like within a
it was
30-minute
a
period.
solid it was a solid like I was worried that it was going to be milk toast until the obvious 16 drop, and that was
Yeah,
going to be the big thing of the show. There were absolutely a good chunk of big things at this.
like what I thought going into this was we're going to see Resident Evil 4, we're going to see Final Fantasy 16, and that would conclude the third party like third party stuff on the main consoles. And then I was like, okay, and then we're going to see like a 10-minute thing on the I was going to say Breath of the Wild, no, but the Horizon VR, and then we'd see a couple crappy VR titles. And instead,
Yeah.
it was like 90% good stuff.
Yep.
Actually, I don't think there was anything bad on here.
No, I nothing that really
Like
stood out as like
Roller Drome,
what the hell is this?
like
Roller
Roller
Drome is the
doesn't look
only thing
and doesn't look
that
bad.
it just looks empty.
It's from the Ollie World people.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks interesting, but like, just don't charge more than $10 for it. It's probably fine. Or when it gets closer to release, just put that on PS Plus, and people be happy. Some games just in our day and age just aren't worth spending the money on when they want like $30 for an indie title. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with how everything turned out. We'll see if we get more from PlayStation, and I think Square Enix is listed as a partner on the Summer Game Fest stuff.
Yeah. I mean I would not be surprised if we see something from Forspoken over there next week.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe are we going to get gameplay, like real gameplay of that? Because
I would not be surprised. I mean that's slated for fall.
See, I thought
that's their big fall game now.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get a showcase of that and then another tease of 16. Instead, we got a video showing a lot of 16. Actually,
I mean, Yoshi P did say like a couple weeks ago that this trailer was in the can for months.
This was the one that they were supposed to do at the Game Awards. The talk was they were going to they were going to showcase gameplay footage, and that's when they shortly before that is when they announced the game was going to get pushed by 6 months. He said at least 6 months.
Yeah, well, that
turned into like
that
12.
was a result. That was a result of Endwalker being a Endwalker got pushed a couple weeks, and Yoshi P was very like it broke him because Endwalker was the very first game that Yoshi P had to delay.
And it was a pandemic.
In his entire career as a director, it is the first game where he had to delay it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a
So
pretty good track record. But yeah,
yeah,
so I say overall, if we had to give it a review, this would be
B plus,
B plus.
A
I
minus.
was gonna say A minus if you're really into some of these titles. A solid B plus performance though. Like
Oh yeah,
for a smaller showcase, like not the full real deal that we're usually expecting from them. But it's a good way to sort of kick off the event. I'm looking at the Summer Game Fest partners. 2K is listed, so we'll probably get what was it, Homeworld, whatever. They're going to show off 5 million trailers
yeah.
for that,
That and
and
maybe the
expansion for
next
Tiny Tina.
the next Tiny Tina expansion.
Activision will be. I think the talk is they're going to be showing Modern Warfare 2 there because they had that tease for it. Atlas. That's where people are like, "What's going on with Atlas?" Atlas, show us some Persona ports
Persona something.
because
We have a feeling it's Persona something. It's either P3 or
I think gold. I think
Golden come to consoles or
golden
something.
consoles and P3 would be nice. I have a feeling if we don't see the teased title or maybe a theme music for Persona,
Persona 6 will be the finale of their big Persona Persona events.
Which might be
so that'll be the end of summer.
End of summer? I was going to say okay, maybe you're right. So something there. Bandai Namco.
They're gonna finish like when it comes to the Persona stuff for the anniversary events. That'll be the last anniversary event.
You want to hear something crazy? Bandai Namco is listed twice with two different logos as sponsors of the Game Fest. Bandai Namco Entertainment and Bandai Namco. I'm assuming one is for the game studio and one is for the movie studio. There's probably going to be a trailer for a movie tie-in. Obviously, we're going to get something from the Gundam game coming up there, and they're probably going to show off more of Digimon Survive because that's coming out the same day as Xenoblade.
Yep. I feel bad for Digimon Survive.
Yeah, because it was announced like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Bloober Team. Is Bloober Team? They're the one doing the Silent Hill.
They're rumored to be,
or one of the Silent Hill games.
One of the Silent Hill games is rumored to be Bloober Team.
If anything,
what they're working on.
If anything, maybe they're working on a remake or remaster.
No, Bloober Team's probably going to be doing its own thing.
Okay.
And given the fact that people were very critical of what they did in the medium, there's some stuff in there.
Okay.
I will not.
I have to
spoil it. But like there's some very odd messaging. Let's say that.
Well, Capcom is listed, so expect maybe another tease of Street Fighter or a similar trailer.
Capcom,
probably Monster Hunter.
No, Capcom will probably show off Monster Hunter because Sunbreak is imminent. I think it's the end of this month or beginning of July is when Sunbreak drops.
And they showed off the Resident Evil 8 VR mode and the other one. I know what they're going to show.
Village DLC.
They're going to show 5, 6, and 7's PS5 ports because they've already said that they're getting free upgrades in the next couple months. They'll probably just show a quick thing with the graphics for that.
Yeah.
Coffee Stain, I don't remember who that is. Indie studio. Deep Silver will be Saints Row.
Yeah, Saints Row.
So Digital Extremes, they're the ones based out of like London, Ontario. They're like an hour away. They're the Warframe people.
Yes.
Right? So they'll have something to showcase there.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to make another game. Because, I mean, that game is super successful, even though I don't play it. I played... When the PS4 launched, it was one of the few titles that was available on, like, day one. It was that and, like, World of Tanks, so I downloaded them both. And I thought it was cool, but I just didn't bother playing beyond that. Dotemu is going to... They better show Shredder, or the TMNT game, and the Metal Slug game. So that's probably those two things they'll showcase.
Yep.
We'll probably get a date for both.
Yeah, Studio MDHR is on there, so we'll get gameplay of Delicious Last Course, which I believe is end of July.
EA is going to be sports. I don't know what they're going to show.
EA is we might get like some
They might tease us. They said they're not going to be part of it. They gave us that Dragon Age title. Do you think they'd give us some key, like no matter how they did last year? Here's some key art that we're working on for Dragon Age. You think they might do that for Mass
Mass
Effect
Effect.
just to show like remember, it's not out of the realm of things because in Final Fantasy VII Remake was giving us key art for a couple of years, just art backgrounds and like they could do that if they don't want to wait to N7 Day. They got to do something. They got to show something.
Yeah. Mass Effect is a possibility. I think they might also
like maybe reveal the title that it's not Mass Effect 4. It's going to be like
Mass Effect. Insert subtitle here.
Yeah, they'll give us a subtitle for it, and then they can have people endlessly speculating until November when they show key art.
Yeah.
Epic Games, they'll showcase something. They're probably going to give away some free.
Mediatonic is in there, and that's going to be some big collaboration for Fall Guys, which is going to go free to play at the end of the month.
Focus will be showing off the Plague Tale game. Humble will be ads in Level Infinite. I don't know who they are. Netflix, they might show off some of the games that they've been acquiring games and studios to put on their service. I haven't checked out what they have yet. Raw Fury will have some weird ass shit. That'll be interesting.
Raw Fury will probably show because Hyperlight. What the hell is the next Hyperlight game? That next Hyperlight game is going into early access soon.
Oh yeah, Sega will show off Sonic Frontier more than they already have. Skybound, I think they're the ones behind the Walking Dead game. So maybe
Skybound's behind Walking Dead.
Sony, like we said, it's up in the air. But yeah, Skybound for sure. That Square, like we said, Forspoken, maybe that Diofield thing because isn't that supposed to be coming later this year? So
possibly.
Maybe. They'll probably show off Minstrel Song, the remake, the Romancing Sagas. So Romancing Saga had the 2D like the high definition 2D remake, not to be confused with an HD 2D game or 2D HD game, but they had that remake that came to phones and systems last year or the year before.
Oh,
and this is a remake of the PS2 version.
Here's the thing: Square's going to drop the Pixel remasters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'll showcase that, but I forgot. We also have the Front Mission game coming this summer.
Front Mission as well.
And then there's also the Dragon Quest one. Dragon Quest 3 is getting the Pixel remaster, and it's supposed to be coming later this year for all like worldwide release. So
yeah, they might. They got
like 3 or 4 of those that are coming.
Square's got a very good
small budget level.
Next 2 years,
they've got about like 7 medium to small budget titles that they're going to sell really well and be critically acclaimed, and it's been their AAA budget stuff that's been really struggling outside of Final Fantasy. So there's that. Steam, yada yada, Tribeca Festival, Xbox. They'll have a tease for something that's going to happen the following Sunday. They might announce a few games that are going to Game Pass, and then they'll have a tease.
There'll be a Game Pass. They'll be just like, hi, here's some Game Pass stuff. Here's Game Pass stuff. They'll have like a sizzle reel for Game Pass and say, here's some bomb drops coming to Game Pass now.
Yeah, they'll put a couple on there like right away. And then Warner Brothers, it will be the Batman stuff.
Yeah, we'll get some Gotham Knights. Hopefully,
maybe playable demo announced.
I hope so, but my problem with Gotham Knights is clear. It feels like they slowed down the combat in that combat showcase that they did. It feels like the combat slowed down on purpose.
Maybe, yeah. So we'll see as that goes. But yeah, that's basically us rambling. That's our predictions, sort of what we're going to be seeing in the next 2 weeks.
I mean, we'll be back in a week anyway to talk about what happens.
Exactly. So I mean, it was pretty good. This was sort of off the cuff and nothing super planned. We just wanted to get in on it right away. I guess that's basically my final thoughts. Is this was a good showcase, better than expected for what they initially were announcing and teasing, and it has me a little more excited for what's coming on PlayStation. I know Oh, it didn't PSVR? There still isn't a date for it yet. So I'm thinking it's a holiday console, maybe,
I think
because they're showing all the games
like
now.
the thing is, like, it has to be soon-ish,
Because it wouldn't be a spring or even in the like the latest it could be would be like January. But why would you release a console in January? But then again, Nintendo released a console in March. So,
but like the RE4 remake is coming in March, at the end of March, and that's gonna have VR stuff. So it has to be before that, most likely.
So I mean, I think it's
probably
an event,
holiday.
maybe, and maybe they can get the hardware for that a lot cheaper because it's not using the same silicon that's been out of stock everywhere. It will be using ARM-based processors and stuff, which are readily available off the shelf for phones. Right. So, as long as they can get the screens, I think it's all that matters, right? So,
we'll screens have been pretty, like, OLED production hasn't slowed down.
Yeah, OLEDs of that size too are a lot easier to come by now.
Yeah, I mean, so, we have the Switch OLED. That's a perfect example.
And it's never out of stock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good to go. So this was fun, man. I was glad to have you on. We'll have you on again when we'll probably do a wrap up of. I'll probably do this either if you can't be on. I'll probably just do the solo one of the Game Fest live next week, but we'll see. It depends on what's announced, and then we'll definitely do a wrap up of the weekend shows because that's just a whole bunch of them, and that'll be sort of the. We'll see how Michael is feeling, if he's up to at least hopping on for 10 minutes and giving his thoughts at the end of this, because this seems like the most underwhelming one. We haven't heard when Nintendo's doing their Direct. Usually they had one around this time.
Nintendo will announce it right, like, a couple days beforehand.
And Ubisoft's been dead silent. They were supposed to have another Ubisoft Forward, but there's whatever's going on in the background there. Ubisoft has not had a game released in over 6 months. I don't count Extraction because that was pushed and it was it was what it was.
Ubi is in trouble, basically.
For a company that has like 7 games in production, they have nothing out.
Yeah, and I mean, and the Mario Rabbids 2, that'll be Nintendo's big one of Nintendo's big ones.
Exactly. So it's either going to like be Nintendo's big one, but if Nintendo isn't doing anything in the next month or having a showcase or having
they're 100% doing something.
Yeah. So because they're not listed,
I will not be
they're not listed as a partner for Summer Game Fest at all.
I will not
which is odd.
I will not be surprised if Nintendo does it in 2 weeks.
Just when everybody's
once everyone's done.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, thanks for having the time to hop on here. I know you got to get ready for work, right? So
I mean, yeah.
So yes, that's it. I don't know how to close the show, so we'll be back. Bye.
Bye.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.